All right, what's up, everybody? We're back with the challenge. I think where I last left folks is I think it was right when Fessy punched Josh, or kind of little gave him a couple fingers to the chin, and then I hadn't been back since then. Been a little busy to record these, but I will have a guest here in a few minutes. Just want to go over the things that we have, just to catch everybody up on where we are at the end of episode 10. So Fessy got kicked out for slapping Josh on the chin. He says it was accidental. He meant to kind of hit him in the chest. Of course, Josh went pretty crazy when that happened. So I'm sure that helped get Fessy out of there, even though that was his best friend. So what happens is, as we've been talking about, there's this whole vet alliance. Let's get all the rookies out. Let's get the rookies teamed up so that we can just keep kicking them out. All the rookies, let's get out of there. That didn't end up going to completion. The vet alliance essentially turned on each other. Berna and Huey lost to Priscilla and Jeremiah, so we get to say goodbye to Huey and his fake butt. Priscilla breaks up the rookie teams, and she actually starts taking shots at the vets so that they couldn't do this thing where they paired up the rookies and started eliminating them. She broke that up. Corey, a vet, got on the wrong side of his other vets by kind of working with Jeremiah, who is a rookie, right in front of everybody. Corey then went into the house, went into elimination, target on his back. Corey and Bettina against Amber and Jeremiah. And Amber, so far, has been a competition beast. Unfortunately, Corey picked his game up. Unfortunately for Amber, Corey picked his game up. They won, and Amber and Jeremiah are out of the house. Then all hell breaks loose because TJ comes in and he says it's no longer partners. So he left it at that. They were all confused. It didn't seem like it was that confusing because you can only go two different ways, right? You can only go solo game or team game. So there were only two options. So I don't know why they were so surprised. It's now a team game. They're split into three teams, which for some reason TJ calls cells. The Emerald Cell, the Ruby Cell, and the Sapphire Cell. They actually had to compete to get to their cells. And so they had if you finished the challenge fairly quickly, you got to sort of pick and choose. And so there was a lot of gamesmanship. There was a lot of competing, like, no, come to our team. No, come to our team. And then you'd see somebody come in and everyone would be like, I'm not saying anything because I don't want them to pick us. So they picked all their teams. The team of Josh, Devin, Tori, Nani, Logan, and Casey won the very first challenge. They were Team Emerald. They compromised Priscilla because it was a women's elimination. And the key here was Priscilla got to choose who she could go up against. It was her elimination. Who she could pick anybody on the other two teams who didn't win. She chose Ashley, Millionaire, or Meltdown, if you're Johnny Bananas, Mitchell. And Ashley performed like a beast, like a winner, like someone who's won this game before. And by winning, Priscilla goes home, and then Ashley gets to choose. Does she want to go back to her Sapphire team, or does she want to infiltrate one of the other teams? Now, because she didn't infiltrate one of the other teams, we don't know if she would be the one pushing someone to the other team, or if the team would vote to, like, there was no organization there for us to know. But that's where we are left off at the end of episode 10. Now I'm going to bring on Jason Hagholm to join me to talk some challenge. Jason, what is up, my friend?
Hey, Garrett. Not too much, my man. Obviously, going to talk some challenge, which has become one of my favorite shows and weekly events to watch every Wednesday. It's pretty much the only show me and my wife watch together. We're that into it.
That's awesome.
And really got into the challenge over the pandemic. So with all the past seasons that are available online and stuff like that. So we're really into this.
So had you not watched it before the pandemic?
So I had watched 2 seasons ago by myself, and then I watched all of last season by myself. But I tried to get my wife into it, but then she kind of bailed. But then God bless, the benefit of, I guess, the lockdown is, hey, let's watch this show, and just the drama and whatever just got her all into it in the game of it. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay, so you're a little bit of a newbie. How far did you go back, or have you even gone back into the archives? Because I want to say Paramount has a lot of the seasons. I don't think they have every single one of them, but they have a bunch of them.
So I've gone back. I mean, we started watching it, I think it was season 30, maybe 29, but that's as far as we've gone back. I mean, in Canada, we have them on our CTV app, so they're
Okay.
pretty much free, actually, if you just want to catch up. I think it starts at like season 10 or 11, something like that. So some of the seasons I want to watch that aren't available because I guess they're not digitally remastered or just can't be digitally remastered.
Right.
So
yeah.
But yeah, so we started about season 30, which was Dirty 30.
Okay, so that's really interesting because I go back quite a ways with the show, but I don't go all the way back to the beginning. And I think this happened for a lot of people, which is when Bill Simmons, even before The Ringer, Bill Simmons on his podcast would bring on David Jacoby, who was technically, I guess, a producer back then, and now he's, now he has his own show with Jalen Rose. They've had that show forever, and Jacoby's awesome. But they started treating it like you would treat The Bachelor back then, which is, let's talk about the show that we'll bring them on, and we'll talk about the craziness that goes on. And so they kind of elevated it to, to what you would with, some of the other reality TV shows, Survivor, etc. And so that's when I really started paying attention and watching it. So that has to go back at least 10 years. But now it's just a mainstay. So I will, just to let folks know, your pandemic story is great. Mine was actually the reverse, because when I moved in with my wife, before we even got married, neither of us had cable, and where I was previously living, I had access to DirecTV, and so I was watching it there. Hulu Live didn't have MTV, so there's no way for me to watch it. So when I moved in with my wife, we both had Hulu TV, and there's no MTV on it. So I missed like 2 seasons. And then what I realized that I could do, because I was trying to figure out, like, can you go to MTV.com? And I was like, yes. Oh, you can do it, and then you can watch. But then there's like 5-minute commercials every 10 minutes. It's just like a ridiculous way to watch it.
Yeah.
So what happened is I went to iTunes, and I was like, oh, they have like the season pass on iTunes. It's like $25, like whatever. There's like 18 episodes. It's worth it. And so then when I realized that before the Double Agent season, I went back and bought some seasons, and I have to catch up with War of the Worlds 2. And then I have to catch up with the Total Madness one, which is Bananas' last championship. So I still have some to catch up on because it's just a lot of TV. But yeah, so your story was kind of the reverse of mine. Like, I got behind in my challenge watching in the pandemic because I didn't have access to it. But okay, so now you've kind of come in late, so you haven't even really seen like the Bananas domination, or like CT. CT did win Double Agents, but like there's less of an emphasis on the old school winners season, because it seems like they're trying to prop up some folks. Evan is getting a lot of airtime. Tori's getting a lot of airtime. Casey, even though Casey's a bit of she's pretty boring. Like, she was even boring on Big Brother. But so you're not seeing like the legend of Johnny Bananas and all of these legends. So who stands out to you in this season as somebody who can kind of become a vet who is someone that we tune in to watch like every season?
Well, I mean, God bless YouTube as well. So when you get into the show and MTV, they have like, let's look at the best of,
Yes.
CT or Bananas, and they're 20-minute videos. So you can get caught up on their history pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
I will give MTV credit for that and what they put up on YouTube. But to answer your question, I'm big into Corey. I think he's really grown on me. I remember from his season of, I believe it was The Real World, and now
Oh yeah.
what he's done here on the challenge. I I think Casey's probably one of the best girls. I still remember her, like her last season where she made the final, messed up her knee, and was the only one willing to eat the disgusting food. And yet Fessy somehow had the nerve to try to say that she let the team down when he refused to put any gross food in his mouth. I like Tori as well. I've pretty much followed Tori's whole run here on the challenge. I think she's obviously one of the best girls.
Yeah.
And I think this is maybe Nani's time. Like, I think Nani may finally get some breaks to make it to a final yet again and actually come through and win.
So it's so great that you brought up Nani, because Nani is one of my favorites of all time. Nani goes all the way back to Real World Las Vegas, the part 2. They went to Las Vegas the second time. Nani and Leroy come from that season. And so she's been around for a long time. And, you know, some of my fandom of Nani is I just find her so incredibly attractive. That helps. But she's somebody who I always root for every single time. She's got her, you know, she's got her crazy side when she gets upset. But these last few seasons, she's really brought it down, and she's kind of become like a mentor to some of these folks because emotionally she knows how taxing the game could be. And I feel like that has maybe even helped her, opened her up to, you know, politically staying in the game. Now she's still got to win some of these challenges physically. She's, you know, she's not somebody who has maybe like it looks like Tori's hit the weight room. Like Tori's actually, you know, she's pretty built now. Nani still looks the same Nani like when she was back in on the Real. So I do hope, like you said, that maybe her making those partnerships. She's got her girl Casey in the house with her, maybe because Casey's the physical part, Nani's maybe the social part. Maybe they can figure things out and get further. Have you been keeping up with any of the stuff that has been on Paramount Plus, which is the All-Stars, the Challenge All-Stars, Real World All-Stars? Because it seems to me that there's a possible sort of meeting of these two franchises, which is they're trying to build up All-Stars, and they're bringing back some of the legends like Mark Long, who goes back to, I think, the very first Challenge season. Darrell is now on the All-Star side. There's some rumors that Bananas is going to be on the third All-Star season. I'm not sure. I read that. I don't know. Like I wasn't able to validate it in any way. And they're also talking about bringing back some of my old favorites like Hurricane Naya, Kayla, like people who are not currently on the challenge right now, but were and fell off for whatever reason. So I almost feel like there's going to be this cresting of like All-Stars. And then the challenge that we see on MTV is going to be more of the younger folks. And there's going to be this meeting of like All-Stars versus, you know, challenge. So because if you go back and if you go back to the All-Star stuff, which I don't know if you have access to it on your subscription, but it's a different game. It's way more like the old school challenge was, where it's way more about hanging out in the house and chit-chatting, and the challenges themselves aren't as tremendously physically taxing as the ones in the current MTV show are. But though that might be a thing for you to go check out too, because then you can kind of learn about some of those old people, because I have a feeling we're gonna see them again in some, like, you know, meeting of the two shows.
Well, I mean, I know Darrell was on last season and got pretty far. He was one of the last guys to be eliminated before we went to the finals. But I think the unfortunate thing is for us fellow Canadians is we can't really find or get these All-Stars, or if they are on Paramount Plus in Canada is just awful. It's one of the worst things ever.
That sucks.
What they put on there isn't really worth it, or what you're hoping is on there isn't that great. I had it when it was the CBS thing before they rebranded, and like I just wanted to watch Beverly Hills 90210. And how can you have a streaming service where it's missing episodes of seasons you have the rights to every single season?
Music, right? Does this have anything to do with the music?
I have no clue. I mean, that would make the most sense, I would think. But you can't be like a two-parter and you're missing the second part. Like you need to see the conclusions of what happens with Kelly after they get back from Hawaii and stuff like that. So,
yes.
But yeah, so Paramount Plus sucks. But hopefully there's a way we can get it on like the CTV app, which is where anyone can watch these uploaded versions of the past challenge seasons, which are, like I said, by the way, free if you just have a cable subscription or just create an account.
Okay, so let's talk about who is left here, and I want to get some predictions from you. So, out of gosh, I don't know how many contestants there were. There were so many. Like we're about halfway through the folks, and again, mostly all of the people who've been eliminated were rookies. So we still have Amanda, we still have Millionaire Mitchell, we still have Bettina, one of the few rookies who is left. We still have Big T, whose romance with one Logan, it was about a half of an episode long before he said, "Can we be friends?" We have Corey, is who we talked about. We have CT, who is just hanging out, keeping it on the down low, not making himself a target at all. I don't understand how he does this every single season now. He's just like he's the biggest beast on the in there, and nobody wants to target him. So we get Devin, we got Ed, who is another rookie. Ed from what is he from? Is he from The Circle?
Yeah, The Circle season 1.
The Circle. Ed has actually been tremendous on this show. I didn't think he was going to be all that good. I actually thought his brother would be a better person for this show, but no way. Ed has got a great personality. Ed's perfect for this show. Then we got Face and Neck Tats Emmanuel. We got Emmy. So they're both rookies as well. Emmy, who is a pop star that we didn't even know, and she's even got her own music video on MTV. We have Josh. Josh is, I wouldn't say Josh is good at this game.
Josh is the worst. He literally drives me nuts. He's my wife's least favorite person. And it's gone like this season alone where he's getting into these dramas and then not only does he get Fessy, his best friend, kicked off, but him breaking down, crying. I didn't mean to do it. What do you mean you didn't mean to do it? You were literally getting in his face saying, "You're going home. You're going home."
Yeah.
Like,
no,
buddy,
look,
you know what you're doing.
Okay. Big Brother, Josh's Big Brother season, he was even more annoying. So what Josh would do in Big Brother is when he would want to create havoc with somebody, he would grab tops to pans and bang them together like cymbals and just walk around the house. And that's what he would do to be annoying. And he's changed a little bit on this show because he's had to I would say he's a very nice guy when he's not so emotional, and because he has some highs and lows, right? Just that's why he's on this show. But it seems like he's been able to make a lot of friends by playing the whatever woman. His role has been whatever woman he has a crush on who doesn't take him seriously. He becomes their best friend. Now, you go back to War of the Worlds 2, and there was this stuff. He all of a sudden he's Georgia's best friend, and then this year he was Esther's best friend. So he's like everybody's best friend. I think he wants to be romantic with some of them, but maybe like based out of that, they trust him because he didn't push it that way, and now he's their best friend. Like Nani really trusts him, so there's something to him that I think is very smart. Like your wife, I find him, very annoying, but I do think the relationships that he's created with obviously the Big Brother Alliance really helps him, because if he didn't have the alliance, I don't think he would last very long, because they're all really smart at protecting each other.
Well, it's especially just how much this season has been about like the vets and someone that's been on an episode or a season more than once. So they're protected. Like Devin, who last year was anti-Josh to the core and was just cutting promos on how bad of a competitor in this game Josh was, especially in the one event where they had to go on a truck and catch something, and Josh went on the wrong end of it. And like they failed right off the start, and just Josh was so emotionally upset, and Devin was like, "Wow, Devin," like just cutting him up to his face. So then at that moment, Devin became my all-time favorite. And now I hope he does really well, and he's doing quite well. But
Bananas thinks that Devin is like stealing all of his old stuff. Like that's what Bananas thinks.
That's because Bananas and him had the beef on that one season back in the day. So, but yeah.
Well, I will give Devin credit because I also used to find Devin terribly annoying, and I'm sure he still is annoying. But when he got Wes out last year on Double Agents,
Mm-hmm.
it was very early in the season, and it was a challenge that was the one where they're on the ends of the ropes and they kind of got to pull each other just ever so slightly. And he withstood, because Wes is a pretty big dude for his size, and Devin is not. So it wasn't a strength thing. It was more of just a stamina and staying in the head, keep staying in the game there, and he beat him. So I was very impressed with that. But okay, so let's go back to who's still left in this house. I mentioned Casey, Kyle, who he is a soundbite. They go to him for sound bites, but he almost never wins anything. So it's interesting because he's kind of getting pulled by the vets too, because he's not been impressive, but he's a soundbite and he's funny. So he's good to have on the show. Logan, also a rookie. He's won twice and he has one elimination to stay in the house. Nani, we mentioned Nani. And Nelson, who Nelson is so interesting to me because he kind of came out of nowhere and I didn't even really remember what show he was on. Maybe it was Are You the One or whatever. And if I remember, did him and Tori have a little bit of something on Are You the One? I remember he had something with one of the women on that show that carried over into the challenge. But he is actually a pretty good player now. There's always been the thing about, he can't swim, so he was always scared of the water. There's the thing about, whether or not he's good at puzzles, but I think you see the evolution of this game, which is Nelson knows now, being on the show for, so many seasons, the things that he kind of needs to get better at, and he's improved, and he's also not going off the handle like he has in previous seasons. Now we don't know, maybe that happens at some point, but he's also kind of been chill, and he's been a little bit of the playboy of the house, hanging out with Berna and hanging out with millionaire Mitchell, and supposedly him and Ashley, like off air, are kind of like friends with benefits kind of thing. And so then the last one who is left is Tori. So out of those, I don't know how many, 15, who are some folks that you do think have a chance to win this game?
To win the game, I got Devin, because I think Devin can surprise people with what he can do physically, but if it comes to a puzzle or a mental challenge, I think he's probably the best guy left in there right now. Of the rookie guys, I'm very impressed with Emmanuel. Like, you'd think Emmanuel would be thrown in there early because he's a rookie, and just, you judge the book by the appearance. He's not going to do well, but he's very well in the challenges to get himself some wins and avoid being put in that situation. I think earn the respect of the vets. And to the girls, I still ride with Casey. I think she's really one of the stronger girls out there right now, and Tori, and I can't take away Ashley, especially for how good she did in this episode's elimination, where she was very smart to use her whole body to try to get those tires dug up in the elimination, and had her. She had the good thing of her team to pretty much repeat the codes, but a strategy that worked for her, whereas Priscilla kept with the feet, and it was taking her forever, draining her, and she just didn't adapt to that strategy. So that was my only thing from the episode. It just bugged me. It's like, look, Priscilla, that's not working out for you. Maybe try a new strategy. Something else has to work better than what you're doing right now.
Watch what the other person is doing and maybe try and replicate that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I'd put Ashley in there as well. This has been a much better season for Ashley, where she was the first girl eliminated last year, and then they had to bring her back because of a girl coming out getting hurt in the challenge, and then they got Ashley out right in that same episode because they knew how dangerous she is, and she's now won an elimination again, and I think she's someone that can be very dangerous both in the game and in the house.
I like the Devin pick. This was the first time, though, for him to win agency, so it was the group thing. So he's been laying really low. CT's got 2 agency wins. Emmanuel has 2 agency wins. And KC has 2 agency wins. Logan has 2 agency wins. Nani has 2 agency wins. So you're starting to see the folks who are like kind of turning it up here in week 9 and week 10. I like the Devin pick. I can't imagine CT goes back to back, but maybe he does go back to back because he's, gosh, you used to think of him as just the brute strong guy. Now he's like the smartest guy in the house when it comes to these puzzles. I do think Emmanuel and Logan, who are both playing really well, I do think they get caught up because there's going to be a part where they're still the vet. The numbers are still on the vet side, and they're going to start targeting Emmanuel, Logan, and Ed because those guys are strong players, and they don't want those guys to be there in the end. I don't know. I'm kind of wondering about Corey because Corey has actually made it pretty far. He's run some challenges. He looks strong. We've all been waiting for him to kind of take it to the next level because the challenge seemed to be his game because he's a trainer. He's looks like a beast. But when it comes to stamina part, he's kind of failed in the end. So I wonder if he fixed that and he's going to get there. But if I was to pick, I would say my top 3, if I was going to pick a top 3 for the guys, it would be Devin, CT, and Corey. And for the women, I like your Casey pick. I do think she's probably the front runner. I'm going Casey, Tori, and then I'm probably going to go Nani just because she's kind of paired up with Casey there, and I think that will take her a good amount of way. So, all right, is there anything else that you're looking forward to challenge wise? Because I guess unfortunately you don't get to see the Paramount stuff, but do you like the evolution of this game where the last 2 games have been like this series of like fake James Bond stuff because it makes a lot of the eliminations or the challenges kind of confusing. Like there's like so many things that they have to do, and I just want to
thank you for saying that because if I was on this show, I'm done after the first thing you explained to me. I'm just so focused on that, and they're like, and then you got to take this thing underwater, 30 feet, and you got to do a math quiz, and you have to do your SATs in 20 minutes. Like that's pretty much what it's like. Like I think the games are a little confusing. I'm not gonna lie, but they're very. It's impressive to see people get them done because of how insane these challenges are.
Yes,
like and how much they've jumped up from like past seasons for even like 30. We're on season 37 from season 30. Like I could maybe try to get some of those challenges in season 30 done. Some of these right now, no chance. And like. I think you just want to see the evolution of what these games are. I know they have one where they seem to go in like this airplane that goes underwater. I don't know what they have to do in there, but I mean, I'm excited to see what ends up happening. And yeah, it sucks about what the Challenge All-Stars, but it's nice to see, I guess, the show branching out, bringing some older people back to try to bump up the streaming service, Paramount Plus, and then I guess worlds will collide in a season or two or a year or two.
So there's the season 2 of the Challenge All-Stars, and I still have to finish watching season 1. I've stayed away from spoilers this entire time. I'm pretty close to the end of season 1, but season 2 is bringing back some folks who we haven't seen in quite a long time, who are old Challenge vets, including the one woman. A couple episodes ago, I was talking to Larry Caution, and I was talking about Janelle from, I think it was from Johnny Bananas season. She's really pretty woman, and she's actually from the Bay Area, and I met her once. I was playing City League baseball, and I think she was either dating or like really good friends with one of the guys that we were playing against. And so I saw her, I was like, oh, that's Janelle from the Real World, and I just walked over and said hi, and she's amazing, but she's coming back, so they're bringing back even more people for this All-Star. So I it's kind of hard to watch 2 things at once because there's so much TV going on, but I'm really enjoying the idea of that. And then I don't know, do you go back with the Real World in any way?
Just like like I said, I remember Corey's season of the Real World, like that was in what, in 2013, 14, when my now wife, when we started dating, we started
Yeah.
watching that, and like Are You the One type of shows as well. But that's pretty much it. Like really the end. And I know obviously they've redone a new Real World for Paramount Plus, which very jealous the people that have Paramount Plus can watch, because I mean it's crazy how that those shows coming back but
Yeah.
have created a lot of interest. So I
So
wish I could see them.
so what they did was they brought back the original New York cast, and they called it the Homecoming. And so they're going to do season 2, which is the LA season, which I had never seen before. So I'm also currently having the LA season in the background. And gosh, you talk about a culture shift in the last 30 years or whatever it's been, because one of the predominant storylines, and obviously this is the casting, is you have the country fan, the Caucasian kid from the South coming into the LA house with the comedian, the African American comedian who's a lot of hip hop culture, and it's just like this clashing of the heads where they just want to fight because they're just completely opposite culture wise. And like there's a lot of stuff, on that show that sneaks in where you're like, "Oh wow, that is kind of racist," or "That's like super stereotype." But yeah, it's crazy because they're gonna bring all of them back in the house for the Homecoming season 2, which is gonna be ridiculous because now everyone's 30 years older, so it's crazy. But yeah, so MTV's doing good things right now. They're filling. Yeah, I wouldn't say the content is like you know Emmy award winning content, but it's perfect for what we want out of these seasons. So hey man, thanks for doing this. We'll catch up soon, and maybe talk about the season as we continue to go further. So that is Jason Hagholm. Jason, give them your details for the stuff that you do.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at jhagholm1. That's the letter J, my last name Hagholm, Hagholm, and the number 1. The Instagram is the same, just without the number 1, where pretty much on the Twitter, and I post pretty much about mixed martial arts, covering that. I also host a show with Bellator Bantamweight, the gentleman Josh Hill, called Jason and the Gentleman, which we go live every Monday, breaking down all the weekend's events and all the news in MMA, and as well the play-by-play voice for BTC Fight Promotions, which is one of the top Canadian mixed martial arts promotions here in the country of Canada, as we are gearing up for our 4th show of 2021, set for November the 20th for BTC 13 Power in St. Catharines, Ontario.
Didn't you also do some hockey stuff?
Yeah,
recently?
I did some. I do. I'm also the color broadcaster for the Kitchener Rangers of the Ontario Hockey League. Was on the play-by-play last Friday, and we have 2 games this week on Tuesday and Friday.
All right, check out Jason's stuff. What do you think about the live streams, that your podcast? Like, what do you think about this whole live stream gimmick of, what we're doing, what we're trying to do with YouTube? Like, how do you like that?
I like it better in the sense of you can do it live with someone, and then YouTube in a way will just upload it. Pretty much, it's just there as an archive, so you don't have to worry about uploading it.
Sure,
it's just about building the audience with it. Honestly, you just gotta over time.
So much competition on YouTube too.
That too, and so much competition in like that MMA space, and I mean, I'm sure you guys as well, with everything you do, pro wrestling and everything else. Like, there's 10,000 channels out there trying to do the same thing. So
crazy.
It's about upping that and building it and promoting it like way ahead of time and getting the show links up there. So, but I honestly I like it. I am happy that you can do stuff live on YouTube. Live is always better, and YouTube pretty much does all the work for you. So, and StreamYard, it's one of the best things to happen for YouTube.
Which is what we're using here. All right, Jason, thanks again. So for Jason, check him out. I'm Double G. We'll see you when we see you. Peace out.